Hey there, neighbors and naysayers. Clint Finney again. September the 15th, 2024. This is severe drought. As the weather reports say, and I have to believe it, driest it's ever been, they say 150 years, which is basically on record. And, you know, here we are in Eastern Ohio, and I may have people listening from wherever, and they're like, oh, you know, we go through this all the time. And you do. I saw maps from Oklahoma last night. There was some severe drought in there. It seems to be enveloping the whole country. The good thing about this and difference between this and 88 is it's toward the end of the growing season for a lot of folks, where it's been the whole growing season for us for the most part. We never really did have a spring flush, and then it's been just dead ever since. And of course, this is where the cows have been since late June, early July. And as I always do, you know, we're just making opportunities out of mistakes, or making lemonade out of lemons, I guess. This is a field we can't feed hay in the wintertime because there's too much wet soil between here and where we stack hay, and to move tractors or whatever, we just can't. And we just don't have the water system just right. It can be, but you know, it's just, this is a place that was great to feed in this drought because of all the shade that we have here. I've talked about this before. You know, if you're into history, Simon Girty's hangouts here. There's some other artifacts back here that I won't talk about, but a good place. Of course, now you can kind of see that the trees are going. Here we are, 15th of September. We usually don't see trees do this until mid-October, and a lot of the cherries and the maples are already turning color because there's no water. There's nothing down there. I do want to make a correction from a video I said yesterday. We can pretty much just graze anything at this point because it's all dead. I talked to the grass pathologist and a forage pathologist, and she said, no, that's not true. And she's right. I guess I take a little liberty. I would never graze it too close anyway. And we could still graze it as long as we're not getting down into the green of it. It's still alive. It's just dormant. It's not dead. It's just dormant. And so we can't go ahead and graze and continue to graze. The problem is the cows, if we turn these guys out, or the calves that we're just going to take off pasture today, all they're eating is the green stuff. They're not eating the dry, dead stuff. We wish they were, but they're not. So it's time to do them. I mean, we're at the an emergency break glass moment over top of this brush fence row here. You can see that's the warm season grass field. We just finished grazing it. I took a picture of it the other day to share on Facebook, but we're at that point that in case of emergency break glass, we've got to put everything on hay at this point, which does open up other opportunities, because I was wondering if I was going to plant wheat and rye and all those things, and now we can, because we won't have anything on pasture, so we could go ahead and plant something. Good thing is, and calves really sell good, sheep really sell good, so you know, we've got some money in the bank. As I said before, you know, I guess the good Lord took a liking to us because he kept turning up ways we could stay. We're planning other directions. I guess the reason I clicked on the video though today is this has made some real challenges at this point because we're at a water problem. This water for this field comes from a spring. It's pumped, and it was actually developed in 1989 with emergency conservation money from the 1988 drought. So it ran through 1988, although we weren't here. We didn't come here until the winter of 89. And we developed that spring in the spring of 90. There was so much ECP work back then that it was that long before we developed that spring. But the previous landowner told us that spring ran through 88. It didn't, and I kind of saw this coming. As we didn't get rainfall this winter, we didn't get snow this winter, we didn't recharge things. The spring has slowed down to a point that it will water these cows as of right now, but it won't water the 20 stalker calves. They were over here yesterday right next to them, and we were going from one pump to the next pump to the next pump, and I don't think the stalkers were getting enough water, so we had to move them away. And we're at a point where it's time to start thinking about, okay, how do we split things up to keep them all water so that we don't have to haul water, and hopefully don't get any worse, but you know, it's looking like it's going to. We've got to split things up, and so the stalker calves went over. They're on the same spring as the hog operation is. we're going to start cleaning the heavy use pad today, because we can put the stalkers on the heavy use pad, and that is the last thing in the world I want to do. Because why should I clean up manure from cows when they could be out putting it on the surface and me not have to spread it? But that is where the water is right now. That heavy use pad, it is just lucky that it can be watered from 2 different sources. So we know we won't run, or at least we hope we won't run out of water there. We can switch back and forth. So that's where they've got to be. And it's funny because, you know, we think of dry weather and boy, we can just feed anywhere. We're at the point now where we can't feed anywhere because we have to be concerned about water. And the well on the north side of the road is watering the sheep and doing a great job with that, but it wouldn't water the sheep in 19 steers. And so we had an all-day arm wrestling event yesterday. Dad and I, you know, are we going to split the steers up and send half of them back here and half of them across the road? But then how many do you know? How many needs to go from one side to the other? What we do know is the spring that's supplying the hog operation, the overflow out of it is exactly, or is probably more than the amount this spring that feeds this group is producing, period. So we know we have enough water there for now, but we can put them on the heavy use pad and transfer water back and forth. It's a challenge. It's been a challenge, and you know, like I keep saying, we're not ready to jump off the bridge or anything. It's just different. It's just the way things are. Like I said, we luckily sheep and cattle are both at pretty much all-time highs, and the loads we have sold very, very well. In fact, I advertised the calves at $2 a pound and didn't get any takers, of course, because why would anybody buy calves right here locally? But I had people from far away as Maryland, Fort Wayne, Indiana calling me, and nobody bid, but they sold for more than around $2 a pound at the sale barn. So I got what I wanted out of them, and that'll help to cover some things. We're going this week to buy some lick tubs to get started. I don't think these guys will eat lick tubs all winter. It's just too expensive, but for now we need to put something out here to help them get a little better and hopefully catch. Because the bull's out here, the bull's looking good, he's getting through things fine. The cows look okay, but I want to make sure that they breed, because this drought effect could just go on for years and years and years if those cows don't breed. So and the sheep same way. So anyway, it's just want to record it. The challenges. It's dry, it's windy. They say there's a rain coming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll believe it when I see it. A lot of folks are going to think that the drought is over if we do get some rain. I would guess we'll get about 2/10 out of it, and hopefully I've talked about this before in the video, but our ground is, our soil is so dry now, it would be like rewatering a dry sponge at your sink. You know how you pour water on it, it doesn't soak anything up, it just runs off, and you got to hold it under the water before it finally takes in enough water. That's where we're at, and the land is so dry and dusty. If we get a ton of rain all at one time, it's all just going to run off. What we really need is 1/10 of an inch one day, 2/10 of an inch the next day, and 3/10 and 4/10 and half an inch, just so it can kind of re-water. Because if it doesn't, if we get an inch or two at a time, it's all going to run off because it's just so dry. It's not going to soak in water. So we'll see how it goes. If we get the rain they say we're going to get, a lot of people saying, well, the drought's over. No, it's not going to be over. It's not going to be over. It's not going to be over until we get a bunch of rainfall this winter, because our groundwater supply is so low that we're in real trouble. So like I said, it's just challenging. It's just do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. I have a million things on my project list I'd rather be doing in this weather, but I can't, because we got to make sure we got enough water and we got things fed. And it's kind of funny. You think, you know, well, they're all on hay, you got more time. No, I got less time, because we're just trying to keep everything going. With that, I'll say we'll see you next time.